Living on a Budget by Cecilia Minden. Do you know how to balance your wants and needs? This book will help you begin setting a personal budget. Table of Contents. Chapter 1. What is a budget? Chapter 2. Where does your money go? Chapter 3. Do the math. Create a simple budget. Chapter 4. Do the math. Living on a budget. And Chapter 5. Tools to help you budget. Now, seeing as this book has a table of contents, we know that this book is a non-fiction text, which means it's not a made-up story, not fiction, but it's non-fiction, an informational text written with the purpose of teaching you something. In this case, teaching you how to live on a budget. Chapter 1. What is a budget? Has this ever happened to you? On Saturday, you have $20 in your pocket. On the following Tuesday, you're broke. What happened to your money? It's time to learn how to make and follow a budget. So what is a budget? A budget is a plan for how you are going to use your income to pay for your expenses. Your income is how much money you receive through jobs or gifts. Your expenses are how you spend that income. Your goal is to have a balanced budget. A balanced budget means your income is enough to pay for all of your expenses. Balancing your budget is a skill you will need all of your life. Creating a budget begins with income. An allowance is one type of income. In some families, the amount of allowance is related to what jobs you do around the house. Wages are another type of income. Wages are earned when you work for others. Gifts are also a source of income. You might receive money for birthdays or other special occasions. Allowances, wages, and gifts are 3 ways students can receive income. Think about how you spend your money. Do you like to buy snacks or other treats? Do you spend money on computer games or music? Do you buy your own clothing? Your expenses may be all these as well as donations to charity or buying gifts. And you might put money from your income into your savings account. Keeping a balanced budget isn't hard, but it does take some planning. Let's get started. This caption reads, if you like buying video games, you'll need to work that into your budget. Life and career skills. Savings are an important part of your budget. Put your savings in a bank or credit union so your money will earn interest. Interest is what the banks pay you to keep your money with them. Let's say you've saved $30 a month in savings account, earning 5% interest. At the end of 5 years, you would have more than $2,000 in your account. Chapter 2. Where does your money go? Before you set up a budget, you need to think about how and where you spend your money. The most important question to ask about each item is, do I need it or do I just want it? Needs are what you must have to survive. The most basic needs are food, water, and shelter. Other needs are what you must have to live your life. These needs will change at different stages in your life. A student's basic needs are usually taken care of by an adult. Talk to your family about items you are expected to buy. These may include clothing, transportation, and school supplies. Not every student has the same needs. For example, you may need to buy sports gear. Another student may need to buy sheet music. Wants are things you would like to have but don't need to survive. Expensive clothing, concert tickets, and laptops are nice to have but are not a basic need. You can't buy all of your wants, but you can have some of them if you plan carefully. Always make sure your needs are taken care of first when you plan a budget. Then figure out how to pay for the wants that are most important to you. The first step in creating a budget is to figure out your income and expenses. Buy a small notebook to keep in your pocket or purse. Label it Money Diary. For 2 weeks, write down every item you buy and how much it costs. At the end of 2 weeks, you will know exactly how you spent your money. Use this information to create your budget. This caption reads, would a cell phone be a want or a need? A cell phone could be a need for emergencies, but the extra apps and games would be a want. Chapter 3. Do the math. Create a simple budget. Some income and expenses stay the same from week to week. These are called fixed income and fixed expenses. For example, a fixed income would be your allowance or wages. Fixed expenses might include school lunches, donations to charities, or deposits into a savings account. This is the base for creating your budget. You also have variable income and expenses. Variable means that amounts change from month to month. You might have more income one week because you were given money as a birthday present. You might have more expenses the following week because you had to buy extra supplies for a school project. Use the budget on page 17 as a guide for creating your budget. Enter your fixed income. You can estimate your variable income. Estimate means you will put in a number close to what you think it will be. For example, if you usually get between $5 and $10 for babysitting, then maybe put $8 in your budget. Make one column for what you plan to spend and what column for what you actually spent. This helps you keep track of exactly where you spend more than you had budgeted. Make a list of your fixed and variable expenses and enter them in your budget. Use the sample as a guide to fill out your budget. Think about your short and long-term goals. Short-term goals are things you want to be able to buy within a few weeks or months. A short-term goal might be a concert ticket, a DVD, or a computer game. Long-term goals, like a car, are things that cost more money and will take many months or even years of saving. Include both of these in your budget. Life and career skill. Remember to make room in your budget for charitable donations. Setting aside just $1 a week is a yearly donation of $52. And this caption says, your parents need to make a budget for household expenses. Now comes the fun part. Divide your money, putting an amount in each category on your list. You will need to play around with this for a bit to make it come out even. In her budget, Grace has planned all her expenses for the next 2 weeks. She included saving for both short and long-term goals. Grace wasn't sure if she would be doing any chores for neighbors in the next 2 weeks, so she left that line blank. And this caption says, before you spend money on something, make sure you have enough money left in that category of your budget. Chapter 4. Do the math. Living on a budget. Have you ever heard someone say that an idea looked good on paper? This means that ideas don't always work out quite the way you planned. A budget is a plan for how you will spend your money. But once the money is actually in your pocket, you may need to make adjustments to your budget. Why? Life is full of unexpected events. What do you do if the child you babysit every Saturday evening gets so sick that her parents decide to stay home with her? Your income for the week will be lower. You're going to have to adjust your budget to take that into account. Grace stuck to her budget the first week, but it fell apart the second week. On Tuesday, a neighbor asked Grace to do yard work on Saturday. She would earn $20 for the job. On Friday, Grace bought a pair of shoes on sale for $19.99. She borrowed the money from her mom, promising to pay her back with her earnings from the yard work. It rained all day Saturday, so Grace lost her job. Grace now has to trim her budget so that she can pay for the unexpected expense. Trimming a budget means reducing expenses. And the caption reads, "Walking pets is a way to earn extra cash and get some exercise." Grace likes doing yard work for neighbors, but it's supposed to rain for the next week. Rather than finding a new job, Grace decides to follow her tighter budget until she pays her mom back. This means it will take longer for her to save enough money to buy that new computer game she wants. Though making her budget work was hard, Grace learned some good lessons. She learned that she needed to rework her budget to include an emergency fund. She decides to divide up her savings money. And the caption reads, "Helping a neighbor with a garden is a good way to earn some extra money." She plans to put away $2 for each short-term goal and long-term goals, and to put $1.50 in a savings account for emergency expenses. A budget is like a road map. Most maps show you how many miles you want to travel to reach your goal. As you head down the road, however, you might decide to head off toward a place that looks like fun. Taking that detour will keep you from reaching your goal. The same is true of your budget. A budget is your plan to reach your goal. The more money you spend on things you don't need, the longer it will take you to reach your goal. Always pay for your basic needs first, and put money into your savings before you do anything else. The money that remains is yours to spend as you like. Putting money into savings first allows you to take an occasional side trip and still end up at your goal on time. Once in a while, when you go on a car trip, you'll get a flat tire. Having a spare tire in the trunk is the best way to get back on the road quickly. An emergency savings account is like a spare tire in the trunk. Set aside an amount each month. If you have to use the emergency money, replace it as soon as you can. You want to be ready if another flat tire slows you down. And this caption reads, "If there's something you would buy regularly, paying the sale price is a good way to lower your expenses." Chapter 5, Tools to Help You Budget. Sticking to a budget takes practice and effort. There are many tools available to you as you learn to create and follow your personal budget. A quick and cheap way is a notebook, a 3-ring binder, a pencil, and a box of envelopes. Use the notebook to keep track of all of your expenses, just as you did in Chapter 2. You can keep your budget sheets in the 3-ring binder. If you have access to a computer, you could create budget sheets using the sample in Chapter 3. Make your own changes so your budget really fits your needs. Keep your budget book and all of your receipts together. Receipts are tickets showing how much you spent and where. Use one envelope for each of your expense categories. Mark each envelope with the name of the category, and keep separate envelopes for savings, short-term and long-term goals. Paste a picture of the item you are saving for on each envelope. It will remind you of your goal. Put the exact amount of money for each category in each envelope. You will be able to know exactly how much you have to spend. As a kid, adults usually pay for your basic needs of food, shelter, and clothing. But when you get older, you will have to pay for all of your own expenses with your own income. That's what it means to be financially responsible. By managing a small budget now, you will learn the skills to handle bigger budgets in the future. Businesses, schools, teams, and families all use budgets. So do cities, counties, and countries. Learning how to make a budget and stick to it is a skill you will use your entire life.